Hello, fellow rockhounders. It's been a couple of weeks since our last video. It's been the holidays, and in Michigan, we've gotten some really cold weather, like around 1 degree. So we kind of let things slide for a week. Meaning me, I ran all of these rotary barrels for 2 solid weeks instead of the typical 1 week. I did not check them in between. I just let them go and forgot about them because it was just too much going on in real life. And sometimes that happens. And you know what? It made a great experiment to see what happens to our stones if we do let them run an extra week in stage 1. And you know what? I don't think it hurt anything. The slurries were nice and thick. When I rinsed all the barrels, I didn't notice any damage to any stones. There was, I think like one had a chip in it. And that was it. So, you know, I mean, it was great. And I think we've gotten some progress, but not as much as I would like. Yeah. I'm pretty happy with that. So let's move forward here. We've got our Carnelian, which is drying out as I speak. Give it a little squirt here. And Carnelian has been running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks total in stage 1. Oof. And we are going to see if we've gotten any progress to move forward to stage 2. And this skin on this Carnelian, or host rock, whatever you want to call it, is super pitted. So it's going to take forever to grind out, or we can just live with it, you know, and call it natural beauty of the stone. I'm not seeing any grit catching on this stone. Is some divoting though, which is natural to the stone, and it's been there. This is kind of agatized, which is super cool, but I don't know. I think that particular piece can use more time. And this is another big piece that's mostly quartz. You know, then the Carnelian comes in down here. That just needs work. There's no point even talking about it. I mean, you can visually see how much it needs. And Carnelian's a MOHS 7. And I treat it like I do other agates. So it can run in the same barrel as agate. You know, if I had to make up volume space. This one looks pretty darn good. This one can go forward. It's pretty cool. There's little orbits in there. Orbicular patterns. But on this side, I want a little more work. I just think this is going to require more time. I'm going to move a little quickly on this. Because really, I mean, if you can feel it with your hand, there's no point in continuing on with the stone. This, I don't know what this is. It looks like howlite, but it's really super hard. So it's probably white quartz, you know, embedded in there. I think that one goes forward. Let's see here. Nope, I want that work done. Ooh, boy, isn't that getting pretty. That is not grit. That is the color of the skin, those dark spots in there. And a little druzy, which is crystallization. Huh. I hate to ruin the rest of this stone for that one little piece on the bottom. Let's give it one more week. Now we did have some ceramics in the barrel to make up volume, because there was just too much of the stone to fit in a 1.5 pound barrel and not enough for a 3 pound. So a 2 pound barrel would be a sweet spot, but I don't have any of those. I don't think Loratone makes a 2 pound barrel. Yeah, that's gonna be work. Oh goodness. I think we are just gonna go another week on this stuff. That's kind of cool, kind of a green looking one. I don't get too many green carnelians. Wow, this is really turning into something beautiful. Such a difference from, you know, these really gnarly nodules that we had when we started. Yeah, I don't really think any of this is ready to move forward. Yeah. I don't think any of this is going to go. But the interesting thing is the longer that this runs, the more the agate pattern you're seeing come out. As it's grinding off the layers, this is being revealed, and I think that's really just amazing. Those of us that are enchanted with agates love to see that. Now that's just got like a pinhole, and there's grit in it, so that's going to get another round. Another round. That one. I think I'm going to let that go to stage 2, because it's not really a grit catcher, it's just a space. Oh, this was our candy cane piece. It broke last time, 2 weeks ago. It had broken in that barrel run, and we just put it back in here to smooth it out, and it is smoothing out, but not quite there. Goodness, why is none of this moving forward? Only 4 pieces. That one go 5 pieces. Oof. Just a little bit more. Okay. Just zipping right through this. All right. Carnelian is going back in stage 1. Oh my heavens, this stuff is just taking forever. Like the citrine that we had before, it had kind of this melted look. It's really cool. I'm gonna let this go. This is gonna move forward. And this piece needs more work. Okay. This is all that's ready. Just these few pieces to move to stage 2. And all the rest of this goes back for yet another week in stage 1. Which is fine. It's the nature of the beast. This stuff just takes a really long time to do. Okay, we're going to move on to our next barrel. And we're back with our rose quartz. It has gone in 6090 silicone carbide coarse grit, or stage 1, for an additional 2-week cycle. Now, I did not check it in between. I just let it run for 2 weeks, and now we're gonna see if we're finally finished with our rose quartz. So it's looking really, really good. But we want to make sure we've got all the as perfect as we want it before we move it forward. Now the slurry was really thick, and we've had a tiny bit of volume loss, which is to be expected in stage 1. But to be honest, it's looking super good. I mean, there's a couple spots that could still be smoothed out. See that fracture line there could be smoothed out more, and then there's just a divot there. Let's see. Wow, this one feels really, really good. There's again on the fracture line, there's just a little bit. But the rest of the stone is just really spectacular. Again, it seems like every stone has like one spot on it. Boy, this is really getting pretty. Just right up in here. Now it's end of December in Michigan, and it is ridiculously cold outside. We actually had a nice little snowstorm come in this week, and temperatures were at like 1 degree, not counting the wind chill, which would be below 0. But well, that's why I ran it for 2 weeks and didn't check it in between, because it's too cold to go outside and clean the barrels. But I don't think it hurt these stones at all to run that extra week. Stage 1. Yeah, see, it's just these right here. It is so frustrating that the stones are like so perfect, and then you get this one little itty bitty tiny spot. This is a little bit bigger right here. But that's the nature of rock tumbling. You're going to have these frustrations. So those of you that are new to rock tumbling, I show this so that you can kind of see what you're up against. It's not a bad thing. It's just, you need patience, and it depends on your personal level of perfection. What is your intent for the end product? Like, is it just to be pretty to look at for yourself, or are you going to try to sell it? You need different levels of perfection, I guess. I mean, these are pretty nice sized stone. And like I said in the last video, we learned a lot about the different sizes and whatnot, and the trials and tribulations of the different size rotary barrels and versus stone size. So there's a lot of experimentation going on with this rose quartz. Yeah, see, it's just that whole, and I don't really know if tumbling this more is really going to take those spots out or just keep opening them up, because they're right along the fracture lines. This one feels almost perfect. Just really tiny. See, in order to grind that out, you're going to have to lose a lot of the surface. I'm sitting here trying to make up my mind if I'm finally going to move this stuff forward or not. And there's just an awful lot of these little spots. The rest of the stone just feels so darn good. It's just a shame to keep running it. So it's just all right in there. There on the end. Nope, got kind of small. I think it was a piece we chipped off. To break a stone down, make it smaller, easier to tumble. Or to get rid of a huge fracture. I don't know. Not one of these is perfect. Gosh, I really like this. It's just huge. What is the bottom right here? I really don't remember. I'll have to look at the video from 2 weeks ago. The bottom of the stone. I don't really know if that's an improvement or not. At some point, you're just not going to get these stones any better. Yeah, each one's got like a little tiny chunk taken out of it. And the only thing in this barrel was white quartz, the balance of the white quartz, this rose quartz, and a couple pieces of Ametrine and some Citrine. So it's all the same MOHS hardness. All has the same type of fracture line, patterning. Cleavage is the word I'm looking for. Sorry about that. So they're as similar as you can get. And there was plenty of ceramics in here for volume fill, not necessarily for cushioning. Because really, ceramics in stage 1 is kind of a waste, because what you're trying to do is shape the stone, get rid of, there's some ceramic, get rid of the sharp edges, round it out. You know, you want to grind, it's a grinding layer, and by cushioning it, you're reducing the amount of grinding that can happen. However, it's 6 of one, half dozen of another. You need to have the correct volume in the barrel that you're in. And if you don't have enough volume of stone in the barrel, you have to make up that volume with ceramics. So, I mean, the smallest barrel you can get is a 1.5 pound. So this one seems to be about as perfect. So again, I'm not really finding other than this one spot. Okay. All of our lovely rose quartz has been running for a year, off and on in different batches. This is what's left of it that still needed more work in 6090. And I don't know what to say. I think I'm going to run it one more round in stage 1, and if I'm not seeing you know, all those little tiny itty bitty spots disappear next week, it's going to go into stage 2, and we're just going to live with the imperfections. All right, rose quartz. White King's Quartz has been running in stage 1, 6090 coarse silicone carbide grit for 5 weeks. As a repair. I think it ran for like a month before that, but these are just the last few pieces that needed more work. They just weren't where we need them to be to go to stage 2. This particular piece is rock steady on. It's beautiful. Very difficult to see on a white stone. There's no imperfections on this stone. So it can move forward to stage 2. This one has what feels like a big chip. Trying to get a good angle on it on the camera here. You can kind of see. There it is. That needs more work. I want that sharp edge. It's a little sharp and I need that taken out. This one is perfect. Thank you to the rock gods. Now it does have this little spot here. The whole stone is perfect except that one end. Since I have another piece that has to go for another week, I'm going to run that one more week. This stuff has been running so long. I'm just trying to get the balance of these stones to catch up. Be a little bit more. Oh, are you kidding me? Only one stone is going to move forward? Yeah, see right in there. It's a cleavage line. And it's like opening up. Or eroding as we continue to grind it. One more cycle. If it's not perfect on the next cycle, it's just going to go forward the way it is. Just a little bit on the tip there. Yeah, it is catching on my nail just a little bit. Oh, goodness. Quartz is just, it's a lovely stone, but it takes forever to get to the perfect stage. So far, nothing. Is there anything there? That little microscopic indent. It's almost like a pinprick. I'm going to let that one move forward. 2 pieces of our white quartz gets to move to stage 2. These pieces just need the tiniest bit more work, so we'll give them another week in stage 1. We're going to put these in the barrel with the rose quartz because they're both quartz. So that'll give us a little bit more volume in that barrel. That one will run again. And then these 2 pieces we'll set aside to run when we finally get to stage 2. Okay, we'll be right back. And we're back with our Ametrine. These are the last few pieces still in stage 1. The last cycle they ran was a full 2-week cycle. I did not check it in between. We had a snowstorm. It was too cold to clean the barrels. So I just let it run. I mean, it was in stage 1, so I knew, and it's a MOHS Hardness 7 stone, so I knew it wasn't going to be damaged by running an extra week in stage 1, so we just let it go. So let's take a look and see if any of these are finally ready to move to stage 2. And it looks like this one is just about there. Just the tiniest bit right there. Otherwise, it's perfect. Little tiny piece we had chipped off. Now, Ametrine is a combination stone. It is part amethyst and part citrine. And the citrine, the yellow part, is from iron inclusions. Oh, look at that. almost ready. This is a piece that we had broken in half because the fracture line was so deep it was never going to grind out. So it's doing really well, catching up, but it is going to be tiny. See here you can see the yellow that makes the citrine. Now you have to be careful when you purchase citrine because a lot of it's just amethyst that's been heat treated. So that's an interesting little byproduct. But this is natural. Yeah, see. It needs a little more work. I'm not really willing to let that move to stage 2. So close. Just that spot right there. Because this one is optical. All right. Okay. Our Ametrine is not ready. So these batches have been split and split and split. You know, each week we take out the pieces that are ready to move forward and set them aside. And it was a small batch. It was only like a pound. It was just 1 pound of Ametrine that I had purchased to rock tumble. And none of these pieces are ready to go. So all of these are going to go back into the barrel with the rose quartz and the white quartz and run another week. These are the ones that we have set aside that are ready for 120 because these are all perfectly smooth. So we are making some progress on this, but these pieces still need another week. Nature of the beast. All right, we'll be back with citrine. We're back with our citrine. And what was really interesting in the barrel is we have this chipped piece of white quartz. So that was really interesting. Other than that, there was no chips or anything in the barrel, so it was looking pretty good. This stuff is awesome. And it's not as yellow as most citrines, but citrines does come in different colors. Now, last time, I was concerned about these divots here. And it does not look like they're going to grind out. Now, this has been going for another 2-week cycle. I think it's been running, I don't know, off and on 10 weeks. And I'm just not... I mean, it's just really cool, but it doesn't look like it's catching any grit. It looks like melted glass is what it looks like to me. And because it's not catching, I think I'm going to actually move this piece forward. Oh, this one looks really nice too. Now it's got a little rough spot right here. Oops, sorry, I was off camera. It's got a little rough spot right there. I think I'll run that one again. Again, this one's just got a little rough spot here. Gosh, this feels really fantastic. This is some really nice rough. Now you can see along this cleavage line or fracture line. I'd like that to smooth out a little bit more. Now, this is like that first piece. It's not catching anything, and I just don't think it's going to grind out. And that's inside the stone. You can't feel any of that. That's what I call optical imperfection. It's underneath the layer of stone, so that one can move forward. I'm going to let that in its interesting shapes move forward. Wow, well, finally, something with a little bit of progress. This ran in the barrel with the rose quartz, white king's quartz, and the ametrine, so that we could kind of fill that barrel. And it's coming along nicely. Huh. I might let that go one more week. Yeah, let's do that one more week. Yeah, I don't like the way that feels. That feels really rough. We'll let that go another week. Now there is a green citrine out there that's natural, not heat treated, and it has a lot of nickel, and the nickel is what gives it its green color. So wherever this was mined from had a lot of nickel in the area. I think I'm going to let that one move forward. Because those divots are not grit catchers. Just the most bizarre formation. Yeah, maybe one more week on that one. I like the little rainbows that we find in there. The refraction of the light. Nice. That's going to need a little bit, just the tiniest bit more work on this one. And on our last piece here, I think that one can move forward. All right, so we had 5 pieces that are moving forward. And then all of this is going back into the barrel for another week of stage 1. So these are the ones that we've pulled out previously that are ready to go to stage 2. So let's just put them in here. Add it to that. And then this sits on the wall, I call it, set aside for when these catch up to it. And we will put these in our barrel with our other 3 stones that need a little more work. Now let's take a look at this barrel. So it's about half full of stone that still requires more time in stage 1. So what I want to do for barrel efficiency would be I would have to add some ceramic media. But I have a lot of barrels laying around that are 1.5 pounds. I'll be right back. I'm going to go get one and we'll see if this will fit in that. Okay, so I took all the stone from our 3-pound barrel and I put it in our 1.5-pound barrel, and as you can see, it overfills the barrel. So this is not going to work. Now, what I could do is keep splitting this down and whatever. But it's winter and I don't want to clean that many barrels. So what we're going to put this back in the 3-pound barrel. You see it's at about half full. And then I have some 6090 ceramics here. I have separated out ceramics for each stage of the tumbling process so that I don't have grit contamination. And all of these have been used for nothing but stage 1. So I'm going to put some of this in here to get the volume we need for the 2/3 full. So right there's about 2/3, but we want to shake it, get that stone down in, or get the ceramics down in the little nooks and crannies. Now we don't want too much. We're good. We're not going to add any more. The reason I'm not adding more is because we are defeating, then it would become cushioning, not volume fill. So this is going to not cushion as much as it would have if we continue to fill with the ceramics. So I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of 6090 coarse silicone carbide grit. Because we did an experiment last year with our grits and the tumbling time and the type of the RPMs of the barrel and everything else, and we were having a lot of waste. So now I've got my 6090 silicone carbide, and our experiment told us that 2 tablespoons was the perfect amount for what we're going to do. So let's just put that in there. Button it up so we don't get anything else in it. And then I've got my borax, which is like a thickening agent. And it also makes cleaning the barrels super easy. And now I'm going to put 3 in here. I put 1, level tablespoon per barrel capacity size. And that gives me the right amount of thickening. And everything works perfect. We've been doing it for months and we love it. It works great. I highly suggest it. So yeah. Okay. So now I just need to add water to get to the 2/3 mark. This is just regular tap water. And we want the water to go just to the bottom of the top layer of rock. Otherwise, the grit just swishes around and doesn't do what we need it to do. So you can kind of see that water level in there. Now we're going to button it up and put it on the tumbler, and we'll see this next week. This has got our 4 different stones in it: our rose quartz, our white king's quartz, our ametrine, and our citrine. All right, we will see this next week. Once upon a time, we were running crushed Prairie agate. And we had split the batches and split the batches and split the batches. And then when I was doing a cleanup about, I don't know, a month ago, I had found a few more pieces of this crushed prairie agate that needed to go in stage 1 a little bit longer. So we've been running it for 2 weeks. And let's take a look. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's been 6 weeks that it's been running off and on here because we kind of put it on hold for a little bit to get a barrel available. And let's take a look and see if this stuff is ready to move forward. It is drying a little bit here. Boy, it feels really good. Now, agates are a MOHS hardness of 7, so they take a little bit longer to run. Yeah, that is a huge grit catcher in there. It's going to need more time. Oops. Really pretty patterns on this agate. But agates, like quartz, take forever. Some pieces will move ahead, beautifully in a month or 5 weeks, and then other pieces take 3 to 4 months to get to where they need to be. Each stone is an individual, and these individuals are really like in stage 1. They want to be there forever. So let's see what we've got going here. Yeah, not really ready. So I think we're just going to keep going on this and let it just run for yet another week or 2. We're just going to go through all of it and see what is available to move forward. Goodness. I think that can go forward. It's not catching any grit. Yeah, this whole part right here needs a lot more work still. Probably be another 2 to 3 weeks. Oh, this one's pretty. It's getting really small, but I think it's finally ready to move forward. Interesting. Interesting patterns on all of this agate. It just doesn't feel smooth enough to move forward on that piece. These are getting to be like pebble size here. Okay. This end, you can kind of see there's some pitting still happening here in the end. We want that smoothed out. So this is feeling a little grainy. Like and you can see little tiny microscopic grains of silicone carbide. I don't think I rinsed this well enough. All right. It is going back into stage 1. My gosh. I'm not getting very much moving forward so far. I mean, I know it's only been 2 barrels, but this is like the 5th stone we've looked at. Type of stone. Because we've been combining barrels because of the MOHS hardness, we can do that if they're all the same. It's just has this divot that's really hard to see. There it is. Doesn't look like it's catching anything, but I don't know. I'm running the stone again. So in stage 1, so I might as well put it in there. The worst thing that happens is we get no progress. And that one needs more work. Okay, so we have these few stones that can move to stage 2. And these ones are going to go back in the barrel for another run in stage 1. All right, we will be right back. And we're back with our ocean Jasper. It has been running 5 weeks in stage 1, silicone carbide, the 6090 grade. And 2 weeks ago, we had split out a lot of this stone that just was never going to tumble the way we wanted to. It was super pitted, huge cracks, things that just were never going to grind out. So we removed almost half the batch, and this is what was left. And after 2 weeks, I'm telling you from a visual, it looks so much better that I think we might actually end up with some stone. Some polished stone, unlike we had with our sea jasper, which we ended up abandoning because it was just never going to work. But now this is looking really good. I'm not seeing any damage in the ceramic media as far as, stone chips or anything. It did have some a tiny bit of ceramic media to help bring up the volume of the barrel. But now that you can see there's a little grit left in here, so that's still a grit catcher. And we are going to want to put this back in 60-90 for another week. This almost feels like iron in here. So it's a different material. It may never polish, but the rest of the stone could. Now this is mined from the seabed, and it comes off the coast of Madagascar. So interesting to see stuff from around the world. I'm still feeling some rough spots on here that I would like to have ground out, but it has really made a lot of progress. Just a little bit here on these sides. Now again, this was super pitted, so we're not going to get perfect stones, but we can get as close as we can. I'm not noticing a lot of mass loss on this 2-week cycle. But that is so close to being ready. So that's a good sign. Yeah. I think we're going to just do one more week in stage 1. I was hoping to be able to move it forward, but it is so close. I think we could do one more week, and we'll have a better result to move into stage 2. Like this stone, I would, if it wasn't for this right here, see this divot right here with the grit inside it, and there's some grit inside this here. If it wasn't for those 2 spots, that piece would have been ready. Now, I'm not going to continue on camera for all of this ocean jasper. I'm just gonna, I know it's gonna go in for another week. I don't know. I say that, and then I found 2 pieces that are ready to move forward. This is really close. There's another one of those divots that we're going to live with. But this under here, I'd just like to give it an opportunity for another week. I was so close to giving up on this ocean jasper, and now I've got all kinds of hope for it. So it just goes to show you, patience wins every time. Wow. All right, so a lot of these are a lot. 4 pieces so far ready to move forward. Hmm. 5 pieces. Ooh, well, maybe more of this is ready to go than I originally thought. Oh, I'm so excited. I like this piece. A little bit of a druzy pocket that got ground out. And I think now it's just like a fracture line. I'm going to give that one more week. Oh, I'm excited about this. Several of these little pieces are ready to go. Very, very close. Now, Ocean Jasper is a MOHS Hardness 7. It seems like everything we're running is a 7, which makes it easy to combine barrels. Gosh, this is fantastic. That looks like it's a spot, but it's perfectly smooth. That's optical. There's nothing in there. See how the shine on that? Uh-huh. That's fabulous. This piece is ready. These pits have come a long way in grinding out, and I think, another week, possibly 2 weeks, and this will be ready to move forward. That particular stone. Oh, that needs work. Oh, wow. So close. Just this whole corner. Other than that, it's ready. Yeah, that druzy pocket, the little crystals in there are grinding their way out. Huh. Pretty darn happy with this. Pretty darn happy. We definitely had the right decision last time to remove those stones that were never going to work because they're just going to continue to be grit catchers. And we don't throw them in the garbage. We put them in our outdoor garden. And use it as landscaping. Ooh. Very, very close. That one is almost ready. So my prediction for next week is we'll be splitting this batch down again. There'll still be, I don't know, a few pieces that won't be ready, but most of this will. We were able to pull out several pieces for this week. Yeah, that whole crack needs to be worked on. Okay. These pieces we're pulling out to move forward. And these pieces are going to stay for another week or two in stage 1. All right, let's recharge that barrel. And we're back with our Australian lace agate, which is in stage 1, 6090 coarse silicone carbide grit, which has been running for 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks. 9 weeks in stage 1. This is the last of it that needs to be in stage 1. Hopefully some of it will be able to move forward. We do have all of these that have been set aside, pulled out of the batches, that's ready to move to medium, but we want the rest of this to catch up with it. All right, this is our last barrel. It's our 4-pound barrel, 4.5-pound barrel. That's running in stage 1. So we've got 1, 2, 3 different stones that are running in it. In this one barrel, all MOHS Hardness 7. We've had some issues in this barrel this past 2-week cycle. We've had some breakage, which is very interesting. There it is. So we've had, this came off of our Australian lace. We had this one very thin piece broke in half. And then off a yellow piece, we had a chip come off. And then we have a piece of green tree moss agate that also broke. We've had some issues in this barrel. There was no ceramic media in this barrel for this last 2-week run. because we had bigger stones and they really needed a lot of work to happen, and we didn't want any cushioning, and it got pretty beat up. So let's take a look and see what our results are. So Australian lace agate has pitting issues that we are trying to get out, ground out. As you can see, this whole bed of pits. Actually, it's drying quite a bit, so we're gonna wet it down as we work on it here. This whole surface has a different type of stone with it. You can see all the pitting on it that we're trying to grind out, this whole surface. And then over here, we had a couple druzy pockets open up. And as you can see, we're still getting slurry is still stuck in there. And that little white piece is a piece of ceramic media that got embedded in there. I want to get that out as well. See all that gray, that slurry that's stuck in these grooves. And that's why you have to clean these so well before each stage, so that you don't have grit carry forward. So those druzy pockets really opened up. The little crystals that were in those pockets are practically gone. And this needs more work. This whole stone has grit carry forward. Goodness. You can see as I'm taking this toothbrush and trying to get in there and get the grit out, you see how deep that pocket is. It just carry forward a lot of grit. Now, like the ocean jasper, I should have pulled those stones out and just had them for the garden, because we don't want grit contamination moving forward to the next stage. But what I'm trying desperately to do here is work those out, grind those out, so that we can have enough stone to polish. And I don't know if we're gonna. All of this is still really super pitted. I'm not going to take the time to scrub each one of these on camera. They definitely need it. It feels bad. And when bad means not smooth, it's super rough. This one's feeling very, very good now that I say that. But it does have a little right here that I want to work out. You can see that little pinprick hole, that really tiny hole, and it's got grit inside of it, so it's going to need to go more. And then this broke, so it's has rough edge on it. This whole surface is rough. Again, it's just, I don't know if any of this is ever going to move forward. I'm really disappointed. Gosh, there's a lot of grit still left on here. My hands are still feeling the little grit, pieces of grit. I'm disappointed in this Australian lace agate. The rough that I received was super pitted and damaged, and I just feel like I'd like to pitch it and get more and start over. Not very happy with this Australian lace agate. All of it still has these pieces in it that are really these fine little pockets. are not grinding out the way that I wanted them to. And they are so deep that to get them to grind out, you would lose so much mass on the stone, it wouldn't really be worth tumbling. Because you'll have, like, you know, pebble size left. Just get rid of that toothbrush. All right. Oh, gosh. I think we're going to have a decision time on what we're going to do with this. I mean, it's really beautiful, but it's full of grit catchers. So I don't know how we can ever get this stuff to move forward if these don't grind out. I am willing, like, see, this is just crumbling. So whatever the matrix of the stone is that's inside, it's just crumbling and it's just making a mess. And no matter how pretty the designs are, this is going to the garden. I think most of this might end up in the garden. We were trying to save it. Gosh, I'm getting like little pieces of stone on my thumb there. There's lots of grit catchers. You can see how much grit is left in each of these stones, and they're so beautiful. But I just don't see how these can move forward to polish, you know, to finally get to a polish stage, because there's so much grit catching in here. I'm not sure any of these, maybe 3 or 4 of these stones will be able to be salvaged. The rest of these are going to have to go to the garden. There's no point in continuing tumbling when you're going to have to go so deep into the surface to get these opened up and to get them done smooth. Like, there's just no point. All right, I'm going to take another look at this off camera. And I'm going to see how many pieces we could possibly see through the rest of this. And then the rest are going to go to the garden. All right, we'll be back in just a minute. After a careful inspection, these are the only pieces that I can continue to run. I'm going to put them one more week in stage 1 and see if they clean up and if we're able to use them. These ones, all of these, are going to the outdoor garden, including my favorite piece, which had that eye that we were watching. It breaks my heart because I love this piece. I thought it was amazing, but the surface is still so pitted, and there's so much grit dug deep into these, and the pitting is on every side of the stone. And it's just, we would lose so much mass to get this ground down, and I think it's just going to open up new issues. So we're just going to take it out to the outdoor garden. That's a bummer. And that's the status of the Australian lace agate for this week. All right, we'll be right back. We're back with our black onyx, which has been running 11 weeks in our stage 1 6090 coarse silicone carbide grit. These were really large stones, and we learned that we need to have bigger barrels to run these larger stones. We had started them in a 3-pound barrel and weren't getting any progress at all because they were just too big. But now that we've moved them to the proper size barrel, we're getting a lot of progress. Now, this ran for 2 weeks straight with no interruption, no checking it, no nothing. And let's see if we're seeing the progress we wanted. Now, there is a little bit of work that still needs to be done, but they're looking, I think, a lot better than they were 2 weeks ago. Now, this stone had all these little tiny micro a line of dots here, little tiny pits, and as you can see, they're starting to get ground out quite a bit. Still needs work to go. I don't think we're going to grind these out, but I want to get them ground enough that they're not grit catchers anymore. All right, let's get our toothbrush and see if we can get any grit out. Oh, yeah. Now, I don't mind. See, now you're seeing some stone come out. I don't mind some, pits and divots if they're big enough that they don't catch grit, but these are definitely grit catchers and need to be worked out more. So that needs more work. Now, last time we were able to pull out 2 stones that were ready to move forward. Let's see if we have any we can add this week. Just bits and pieces. Now, this was in the same barrel as that Australian lace agate and green tree moss agate. And there was damage in this barrel, and I'm just wanting to make sure that nothing happened to the Onyx. It seems to have not taken damage. It didn't crack. It didn't, we don't have chips coming off, but there's a lot of pitting that was here before that still needs to be worked out. Now, there was no ceramic media in the barrel this run because we were trying to get stage 1 to do its job and do the grinding. See, now that's not catching grit. So, I mean, technically, I could move that forward to a stage 2, and I think I'm going to. Yeah, that whole end needs work. Now you see these cracks. These are fault lines that are in the stone. And it's eroding away. I'd like it to grind a bit more. I'm still feeling a little grit. Because see all these little grit catchers? I'm just feeling that in my hand. This is going to need another week. But I think I might pull this out and put it in its own barrel. Run it by itself. Maybe like a 1.5 pound barrel. I don't know. I need enough motion, enough rotation for these big stones. I don't know. That one can go forward. That one needs work. All right, so we were only able to pull out 2 more stones this week. So we will add it. Take these 2 stones and add them to these, and now we have 4 of them ready. Black onyx ready for medium. Set it aside. Oh, goodness, goodness, goodness. All of these need another run. And I don't want them to run with that Australian lace because that stuff, I don't know. I want this to run by itself. This will go in a 1.5 pound barrel, I think. Let's get one and see. All right, we got our 1.5 pound barrel. Let's put the stone in here. Now, what we want is when we turn it, we want to get enough action in the rotation I think we'll be able to. Yeah, there'll be enough motion. I'm not putting ceramics in here. I'm going to have to. There's not enough space. Damn it. Okay, we're going to charge this barrel with 6090 in borax, and we'll see it next week. Okay. I think I will add a little bit of ceramic media because I need to get into all these divots with the grit. Okay. Damn it. All right, be right back. And we're back with our green tree moss agate. It's been running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks in stage 1, 6090 coarse silicone carbide grit. We had a chip in the barrel. We've had breakage, lots of damage, and not happy. We had no ceramic media because we were desperately trying to get this stuff to catch up because it's big stones and it's heavy stones, and put it in a bigger barrel, and yeah, it needs work. So ran a 2-week cycle, which should have been okay. Actually, this piece looks like it can move forward. Well, that's good news. All right, this one was a no. It is feeling pretty smooth now that I've gotten out all the damaged pieces of the other types of stone. That is a great big chip that got knocked out during this run. That could be where this chip came from. It's going to need another week or so in stage 1 to smooth all that out. Take the rough edges away. This has got a little bit of damage there too, so it's going to need more time. Not damage, but imperfections need to be worked out. This one, those are, I mean, they're pretty big stones. This one feels horrific. Look at that. That is all rough texture. All of that is really rough. Pitted surface. Not sure that is ever going to grind out. I'm going to give it 1 more week, and if it doesn't start improving, I'm going to pull this stone out for the garden. All right, let's see. Getting a lot of grit and broken stone. I should probably go rinse this again before I check it. A little more time. This is feeling super rough. It's like that, the surface on that other stone. There was a couple of those in here. At first, when I was giving this a quick rinse, the barrel, rinsing it out to do the inspection, I thought that this was damage, like new damage, like the stone was crumbling. But I think it's just that porous pitting that we need to get worked out. Almost ready. This feels a little rough right there. Definitely rough right here. I think I'm going to split this out into its own barrel like I did with the black onyx. So that there's nothing else contaminating it. Just doesn't feel good. Wow, this is really coming along. Look, see, now we've got a piece of broken something in here stuck. Wonder if that's a piece of that Australian lace agate got stuck in there. Where's that dental pick? Let's see if I can get this out. Oh, it's really wedged in there. Here it comes. It's really getting great patterning on this. This is Green Tree Moss Agate. That is a really big hole. I hope we can not have future issues with that. Yeah, that has a lot of pits in it. Well, we've got two pieces that are ready to move forward. Oh, I thought this one was going to go until I turned it over. Wow, starting to be able to see through that one. That's really cool. Actually, this one's ready. So we had three pieces that we can move forward. One chip to go in the chip bag, and the rest of this is going to go in its own smaller barrel. And we'll let it run. Okay, we'll see it next. We're done with our stage 1 barrels. We have 2 barrels that are in stage 2, and we'll take a look at those next. Okay, we're moving on to our barrels that are in medium, stage 2, 120, 220 silicone carbide grit. We've been running this for 2 weeks in our Rotary tumbler. We did not check it at all in the past 2 weeks. It was holidays and bad snow and whatever. We just didn't check them. So let's see if any of these are ready to move on to 500 aluminum oxide pre-polish, and I have a funny feeling it will be. Normally we don't run 2 weeks in stage 2, but holy cow, it sure did not damage any of these stones. They are looking beautiful. Just gorgeous. Really, really smooth. Feels really nice. All those little micro blemishes are gone. Oh yeah. So what I need to do is put this in a couple wash cycles, make sure that there's no grit contamination. We want to get them really, really clean. And then we're going to move them to our vibratory tumbler to finish out the pre-polish and polish stages. Wow. Pink Aventurine. It does look like a lot of slabs of meat, to be honest. Little cubes of raw chicken is what it looks like to me, but I think I just want lunch. Wow. Nice surface. There's a couple of bigger stones in here, but I think that'll be all right because our vibratory tumbler is a 4-pound hopper, so it should be able to handle these just fine. Oh yeah, these are gorgeous. I'm gonna go put these in some wash cycles, and our wash cycles is just Dreft baby detergent and borax. Tablespoon of each. Run it for an hour. Rinse it. Do it. Rinse and repeat until the water runs clear. And then once it's clear, we take all those the ceramic media and set it aside. And we will take the stones and put them in the vibratory tumbler with fresh media. And we'll video that process when we get there. All right, we'll see these in a few hours. Fantastic. I am so happy with the result on this. And we're back with our last barrel for this week. It is our mixed Aventurines, and it has been running for 2 weeks in 120, 220 silicone carbide, which is our stage 2. We had a bunch of Aventurine that was in various stages, and it's finally, getting ready to move forward. This is a yellow Aventurine. And these pieces we did not complete with the individual stones that we had run previously. Like, we've got videos on how to run yellow Aventurine in the other colors. These pieces were held out because we want to do an experiment on polish. And the ones that we've done that we have the videos on went all the way in a rotary tumbler. And now what we're doing is going to use the vibratory tumbler for our pre-polishes and polish stages. So we want to have some pieces left out to run batches. This stuff is fantastic. It feels lovely. There's 0 problems, thank God, so far with this yellow Aventurine that I'm pulling out. It is all perfect and ready to go to pre-polish. So we're going to give it several wash cycles and then move it to the vibratory tumbler, and we'll get all that videotaped. Wow. I mean, I'm not feeling a thing. These are perfect. Now we've got the green Aventurine. I mean, you can see that, but you can't feel it. Wow. Super cool. Can't wait to get this in the vibratory tumbler. Now this stuff is going to need probably 3 or 4 wash cycles in the rotary tumbler because we want to clean the rotary barrel, we want to clean the ceramic media, and we want to clean the stones. So might as well do it in the rotary. The rotary takes longer. There'll probably be 4, maybe 5 cycles of an hour each. And I use 1 tablespoon of Dreft baby detergent because it doesn't foam up and it has no additives to it. And 1 tablespoon of borax as a thickener, and it helps clean the barrels, everything else really well. Makes cleanup super easy. Wow, I love this stone. Look at all that quartz on it. Alright, so there's the green. Yeah, it's just 2 weeks in stage 2 was perfect. Normally I would run stage 1, but it was the holidays and we had some bad weather and I just wasn't feeling it, so I let them run an extra week, and boy, glad I did because these are amazing. And then we've got some peach Aventurine in here and some purple Aventurine. It's interesting to see the different patterns. Yeah. In the different colors, and yet it's all still Aventurine. Alright. Purples. And the purples have got quite a bit of mica. Quite a bit of flash in there. Wow. Yeah, there's just a few more in here, and I'll check those. Yeah, the ceramic media looks fantastic. There's no chippage, no damage, no anything in here. So we are going to go ahead and the flower bloom on that. Nice plume. That peach. Okay, wash cycles, and then we're going to come back and when we put these in 500, so you can kind of see how that process happens. Sweet. This is fantastic. Alrighty, we'll be back. Okay, we're back with our pink Aventurine that has been running for about 36 hours in 500 aluminum oxide grit on the vibratory tumbler. And we've been cleaning it out, get a good wash in here, and let's rinse it out and we'll be right back. We've cleaned out the vibratory tumbler, and this is our pink Aventurine, which looks amazing. Feels really, really good. And it's absolutely ready to move forward to 1000 aluminum oxide. So we're going to take these stones out, put them in the 1000 barrel with fresh 1000 ceramics. So we've got everything set up here. Our ceramics for the 1000 AO and our stage 4 1000 aluminum oxide pre-polish. And we've got some borax over here. And we're going to put all that into our barrel and get it ready to run. And we'll run it for about 24 hours, 36 hours, and we'll see how it's turning out and if it'll be ready to move on to polish. Okay, this was a quickie. All these are definitely ready to go. All right, it's time to check our pink Aventurine. Let's take a rock out, clean it off, and see how it's done. It's been 2 days in 1000 aluminum oxide. Let's take a quick look before we clean the whole barrel out. Want to make sure this is where we want it. Oh, that feels really nice. What a lovely, lovely feel. You see it's beginning to get a little bit of a matte shine to it. Oh yeah, it's definitely ready to be cleaned and move on. Oh, sorry about that. To be cleaned and to move on to polish. So we will take a little bit of Dawn soap. Just put a little drop in there. Add some water. You want quite a bit here. Going to turn it on. Get the suds going. Close it up. And we'll let it run for about an hour. And then we'll do a wash and take another look at it real quick before we start the polish phase. Okay. That's our pink Aventurine on stage 4, 1000 aluminum oxide. Oh, alrighty. So the stones are washed out from the vibratory tumbler. This is the pink Aventurine that ran for 2 days in our 1000 aluminum oxide stage 4. And it's been all washed off. And it's drying pretty quick here, but I want it dry because I want to take a look at it. A nice close up. You can see how there's a matte sheen on it. The surface is super, 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 super smooth. It's a little wet, but it feels like glass. It's wonderful. It is so ready to go into polish. So we took out all the ceramics, cleaned the barrel and everything, and so now we are going to put it in our polish barrel. Let's get it off the machine here. Okay. So I want to wet the inside of the polish barrel. Just give it a good squirt, just so things are a little damp in there. Not really wet, but damp. Let's give it a couple more squirts there. You see there's no standing water. And then we're going to put our wet stones in for the polish. I want to fill this first before I put the ceramics in it, because I don't know how much ceramics I'm going to need. A fair bit, I would assume. See, it's good, wet. All right. So we're about half full. Let's grab the polished ceramics. This is our polish only. And you can see they look wet, but they're dry. This is because they've been through so many polish cycles. They're nice and polished themselves. But you want to wet them. Okay. Get the wet stones in here, or get the wet ceramics in the bowl. Now, if I was set up here at the sink, I'd just be, I'd tip this over and drain it into, all this water in the sink. But I'm going to do it here on the bench, so. Still. A little bit more. I'm just doing this by handfuls here. Okay, just get it wet in the tap water. Okay, I don't really want the stones going up the neck. So that's about as much as I really want in here. Now, what I'm going to do is put this back on the machine. Be right back. All right, so we are in here. Let's turn it on. What we want to do is get it all mixed together. We'll see how much more stone or ceramic we need to add. Kind of loud there. Pretty good. You see it's not really coming up over the neck. So now I'm going to want to add the borax and the polish. handy dandy tablespoon, my borax. I'm going to put 2 tablespoons because it's a 4-pound hopper and I want to do half the capacity weight in tablespoons. And let's put this away. I'm going to want to get our aluminum oxide polish out. Stage 5 2-micron aluminum oxide polish, and I'm going to put 1 tablespoon in here. Okay, and I'm just going to let the vibration brush it off the spoon because I think that's fun to watch. And it's slowing down the action, and you can hear it's even quieting the noise. Alright, and then to make sure I've got enough water, let's give it about 7 or 8 squirts in here. I'm going to turn it up for a moment. Just to make sure we're getting a good slurry started. Now that's at high. I want to turn it down to about medium high for this pink Aventurine here. Other Aventurines in it. And that's really just about all the water I'm going to need in it. It looks like it might lock up a little bit, so I might have to turn it up just a little bit higher. Keep it from locking up. Yeah, starting to get a tiny bit of slurry. So I'll check on it in about an hour. And let's get the lid put it, well, first of all, let's turn it off and let's lock it down, which I should have done in the beginning. There, now it's locked in. Now, turn that on. Close the lid, and you see here immediately how much quieter that is. It's crazy how quiet that gets. All right, we will see that in 2 days and evaluate how much longer it will need. Whew, all right. Pink Aventurine, almost finished. And we're back with our red Aventurine that has finished its burnish cycle from polish. And let's take a look. And oh my gosh, that was wonderful. Alrighty. So the vibratory polish was nice. Not seeing bruising. Completely dry. Very slippery. Now, we are all finished with our red Aventurine. Oh, that was cool. That is completely smooth, does not catch with the fingernail. That is underneath the layer. Wow. Really pretty. Oh, that's really red. Wow, we can really chase that shine. Well, that puts an end to our red Aventurine. Okay, it's been a hot minute. I kind of forgot I had this catch-up batch of mixed Aventurines in the vibratory tumbler and polish. It's been 7 days, and I forgot about it. And we're gonna open it up and see what we did to it. Looks like it's running really well. Slurry looks nice. Now, it did lock up on me because it dried out some. So I put several squirts of water in here to get it rolling again, and now it's all smoothed out and running beautifully. And we're going to pull one out and take a look at it. And see, we're going to call this an experiment, not a, I forgot. Okay, so we've got some water over here. I'm gonna just rinse this one piece off. Oop. Keep moving the camera base here. And let's just see, oh my. Let's grab another one, just to make sure it's really good and dry. Super slippery. Well, being in the tumbler in the vibratory tumbler for a few extra days sure didn't hurt it. I'm not seeing any bruising. Wow, it is gorgeous. Look at that. So if you're running let's call it an experiment, and you want to know if leaving, let's get another piece, if you want to know if you leave the vibratory tumbler running for a solid week, seems to be okay. This is a piece of yellow Aventurine. Ooh, doggies. Look at that. Stellar. Now, a few months ago we ran this yellow Aventurine in the Rotary tumbler for polish, and it got bruised and we had to send it back to stage 1 and kind of do some repairs. Well, the vibratory tumbler is a lot gentler on it because we're not getting that bruising that we did in the Rotary. So I think from now on, I'm definitely going to do this Aventurine in the vibratory tumbler. Wow, look at that. That's really dark. Nice dark green. Now these are going to have a wash cycle, and they're going to have a burnish cycle, and then we're going to let them air dry. And all these mixed Aventurines that we've had on, try to find another color here. Yellow, that's green. There's a peach one. Completely off track what I was saying. Okay. The weather's been cold, I've been lazy, and I have not done anything for the last couple of weeks. Just let this stuff run. So, I'm calling it an experiment, and to see what happens if you just leave stuff tumble. And I think it's turning out better than when we babysit it all the time. I'm going to have to get all that out. Because it's patience. Yeah, I'm gonna have to scrub that. There's my polished one. Here's the polished toothbrush. Got a bunch of stuff in the Rotary tumblers that I forgot about, and they've just been running and running and running, so we're going to see what the problem is with that. Yeah, I gotta scrub that some more. Okay, let's see, what other colors do we have in here? Yellow, green, peach. Oh, it looks like we've got yellow, green, and peach, and there's a couple purples in there. Let me slow it down so I can actually grab a purple. There we go. Boy, that water gets muddy fast, doesn't it? Yeah, this is a purple Aventurine. Oh, goodness. I am so sorry about the camera angles today. Gorgeous. Just gorgeous. I am so happy. So this entire hopper full of Aventurine was just stuff that we had in various stages that we finally are able to catch up. And a finish. Alright, we are going to put all these back in. And then that piece that we had in. We're going to put a drop of Dawn dish soap. We are going to put a lot of plain tap water. And it's starting to bubble up in there. Put a little bit more water. Cap it back up. And we will check it in an hour and rinse it all off. And then after we rinse it all off, then we'll put it in with just borax and water for about an hour and let that run. And then we'll let it air dry and we'll be completely finished with that hopper. Okay, we are back after our burnish cycle in the vibratory tumbler of our mixed Aventurines that we had been finishing up. So we've got, some peach over here, and then yellow, the greens, and the purples. That was everything that was in that unit. They are almost all completely dry. Look at that. Just beautiful. There's no bruising. Just stunning. So that was 7 days in the vibratory polish cycle. I am gonna say that 7 days in a rotary versus 7 days in a vibratory, I think it's better in the vibratory unit. I just somehow think that it is more gentle. Oops. See all the beautiful quartz that was in that as well. Lovely, lovely. Of course, we see fracture lines and whatnot in here. That's just natural to the stone. Okay. it's so nice and quiet with all the tumblers off. Okay, so finished that experiment.